Welcome to MWEB's Entrepreneur Zone. Today I've got Shaun from Rapidtrade with me. Welcome, Shaun.
Thank you.
Tell us a bit about your business.
We started about 10 or 11 years ago. We're in software, we're in computers. We've evolved from developing offline apps really around the sort of shopping area and around that business-to-business environment and allowing the customer or the retailer to actually buy quickly and easily from the suppliers. That actually then evolved into websites and eventually now into mobile development.
And it's been an organic development, your business?
Very much so. So we started off with an idea that we thought was going to work. It was a bit of a flop. And I think after about 9 years, we kind of said the horse is dead, so we might as well dismount. All right, but then actually started speaking to a few customers, and we kind of changed the model to say, let's try and give the customer what he wants. Okay, and that's been the growth ever since.
And who are some of your customers?
We've got guys like Plascon, Matus, Bernina, the sewing machines, very much in the security industry, those sort of people, big suppliers.
And being a relatively small company dealing with big customers, what are some of the challenges there?
Bureaucracy very often, all right, and sometimes trying to get the big companies to believe in you. Luckily, we've got guys like Plascon, Matus and so on who are prepared to sort of believe in the small guy, go with the small guy, which has been great. So I think sometimes the trick is to go through the people who don't want to deal with small companies to get to the guys who do.
Yours is a technology business, and technology relies on people. How do you get the right people into your business?
I think the main thing we do is we look for attitude. We always believe skills can be learned. We're quite big on sort of creating recipes for what people need to do. Our coding standards are very strict. So the issue is not really with skills as such that can be taught. All right, we find the biggest thing is attitude. So we look for the attitude. When we hire based on personal reference. Those are the kind of things we do. We find that's more important than somebody who's clever, but he doesn't necessarily fit into the business.
And you from a technical background yourself?
I am, yes.
Okay, and how have you brought business skills in to complement the technical skills?
I believe in partnership. So I don't actually want to own a business 100%. What I want to do is work with people who obviously, like for instance, I'm not good on the sales area. Okay, I'm a technical person. All right, so we've actually got a partner on board who is good in the sales area. He enjoys the sales area. So I think that's the main thing. Find people who complement yourself, and not necessarily complement, but almost, where you lack, they're good in those areas. So.
Shaun, the systems that you guys develop are critical to your clients. How do you make sure that the quality there is up to standard?
So you're correct. Okay, for us, when the systems go down, the world comes to an end for the clients, if there is an issue. So I'd say support is probably the biggest department in our company. All right, so I deal with new development. We have a particular partner who just focuses on support, and he does a very good job at it. All right, we have help desk systems in place. We have dedicated support staff, and we have outsourced, we've got 3 outsourced support staff overseas. Okay, they deal with us to provide a 24-hour support. So when things go wrong, all right, as I said, the world can actually come to an end, all right, for the customer because, online orders are not going in, etc. So I think that's what we find is the biggest key, is to make sure that you have enough support staff to support the systems that you do sell. And maybe that's been a big lesson for us.
And in terms of managing the initial build quality, which is the area that you're in, how do you manage that process?
All right, that's one of the most difficult things because we actually work with outsourced developers. Although we can develop it ourselves, we don't actually do the development. But the biggest thing was actually probably spending 6 to 9 months setting up our standards. And we get very fussy on the standards. Okay, even down to, what methods are called, all the details of the programming. Things have to go through code checks before we'll actually take the software live. Okay, we don't just accept programmers' code. We make sure that it goes through a code check and that it is tested before it goes live. Bugs are still going to creep in along the line. There's thousands of lines of source code that goes into it. But that way we actually find that we reduce that a lot.
And you've moved in, you're strongly in the mobile area, and mobile is a massive growth area worldwide.
Yes.
Where do you see the future for companies like yourself in terms of the mobile space?
So I think the future for us is actually in giving specific solutions. What we find is the big accounting packages or the ERP systems out there can give sort of fairly general solutions. But what we do is we go into companies and we actually find out what's their specific need, all right, and potentially make changes and develop pretty quickly according to that. So I think that's why a company might go for us as opposed to a sort of fairly generic solution out there. The second thing that we do is it's fully supported. So we don't charge them big upfront fees, we actually charge them monthly hosting fees, and that includes sort of full support. So I think that's maybe the key for us going forward. And obviously then developing on the new technology. So don't stay behind. So for us, there's new technology out now that works on all the different operating systems or the iPads and the Android devices, but there's new devices coming out. You've got Tizian coming out, Firefox and Ubuntu are bringing out their own operating systems. So you've got to be really careful going forward that what you develop on is actually going to take you, it's going to be okay in 2 years' time.
And how do you make that decision?
Very difficultly. It's a difficult thing to do. But I think the main thing is you literally need to be prepared, certainly in our industry, to throw away and redo. All right, so we started, as an example, we started developing on iPad, so on iOS. All right, we had an iOS app already around 3 years ago or 2 years ago. Then we had to go onto Android. Then one of the customers said, no, we need to print, so we must have it on a Windows tablet type device. And then we got to the point saying, no, hang on, we can't do all of this. We need to go in a particular direction that'll work across 3. And we did. We made the decision to actually throw everything else away and to redo it from scratch.
With the development in the mobile space, there's a lot of competition. Everywhere you look, people are developing mobile apps. How do you differentiate yourselves?
We tend not to be scared of competition. Competition, we treat it more as like a good thing rather than a bad thing, mainly from the point of view, at least you know you're going in something that people want. Okay, so we know that mobile is the big thing at the moment, all right, but we know that our competition can't get to everybody. Okay, I always use the analogy, Pick n Pay as competition doesn't mean they close their doors. Okay, some people are going to go to Pick n Pay, some people are going to go to Checkers. And we find that in our industry, you need to own the customer. So it's actually sales that's more important rather than is there competition. So I think we treat sales as mostly important. We need to get to the customers and get to them first. And if we're going to go up against competition, that's fine. We go up against competition. You'll win some and you'll lose some. Perhaps another big thing for us is we push the development. Okay, so we want to be ahead of the game in terms of the products that we have. We want to be on the latest technology. And I think sometimes maybe that's where we can actually get ahead of our competition. And to be honest, there's times that sometimes our competition is ahead of us. Okay, and what tends to happen is we copy from them and they copy from us. All right, but you have to move with the times and you have to push your technology. But I'd say the main thing is actually the sales. If you can get the sales right, you're going to lose some people to competition, but you're going to win as well.
Speaking to other entrepreneurs in technology space, one of the difficulties they have, particularly when they're working on a project-based system, is that they have problems with cash flow. How have you managed your business to deal with this?
Around 7 years ago, we actually changed from an install fee, a big install fee, selling you the software, then charging a yearly license, to more a retainer basis or a hosted fee. These days it's called cloud solutions. So we changed to that probably around 7 or 8 years ago and took quite a big hit initially, because you can imagine you're losing all the project fees. All right, so we had to get into contracting. We had to survive. You know, we had to go and do other bits here and there to keep the cash flow coming in while we built the monthly income. Probably took us a good two or 3 years to actually build the monthly income to a point that it was sustainable. All right, and now we're at the point, 10 years later, that we can actually keep our customers. Cash flow is constant. We can hire people knowing that there's going to be cash there next month. In hindsight, probably the best decision we ever made.
Shaun, what's next for your business?
So we've just gone through a whole redevelopment on getting onto the latest mobile technology. So that's the side that we're really pushing. So the development that we've been through for the last year and a half is what we're setting ourselves up for the next 2 or 3 years. So we see mobile as the next big thing, and that is the thing that we're actually pushing for the next 2 or 3 years. That's what we're focusing on.
Thank you, Shaun. That brings us to our rapid fire questions. What's the best advice you've ever received?
Just hang in there. So stick it out. Too many companies actually stop before they get that breakthrough.
And what's your best moment as an entrepreneur?
Last year we actually won the South African App of the Year. We won in one of the categories, so that was a highlight for us.
And your biggest mistake?
not watching cash flow in the business.
What quality do you look for in people that you work with?
Attitude.
What quality does an entrepreneur need to succeed?
You've got to hang in there when everybody else says it's not working.
And the biggest inspiration to you as a small business owner?
I would say looking at guys like Richard Branson,
And what would you do differently?
I would partner a lot more and I would have done it earlier.
And what makes South Africa a great place to be a small business?
I would say South Africa is full of entrepreneurs and it's full of small businesses. I think that's why South Africans do so well overseas.
And what keeps you awake at night?
Cash flow.
And what gets you going in the morning?
Innovation.
Shaun, thank you very much. And thank you. We look forward to the coming weeks. We will bring you more South African entrepreneurs. I'm Paul Hobden. Thank you and goodbye.